and build a business that actually lives.
All right, all right. Welcome back to another session of the Voice Lab podcast. It is Tuesday. It's already April 14th. Isn't that amazing how time has flown by? And with all these changes in tech, I'm pressing buttons like a crazy gal over here, and there's so many pop-ups coming up. We're supposed to make this simple, but that's what we're here to do because that's what we're doing with the Voice Lab is we're sharing with you how to really simplify your life on the stage, behind the stage, in front of the stage, everywhere you're at. How can we simplify your life? Because tech is changing, tech is growing, the world is changing every day, and it seems nothing but crazy. It's like, hey, Zoom, hey, LinkedIn, I've got to take five more steps than I did last week to get something done. And it is just out of control. And sometimes those commands aren't going through. But if you feel that you are stressed and that you are overwhelmed, because I do understand it, I know that it's happening, I know that it's changing, and I know that I understand. So you're in the right place. You are amongst friends here in the Voice Lab, and we want to, share with you visibility without, leaking that opportunity. How do you get on the stage? How are you successful? And how are you in front of the camera? And absolutely behind the scenes. And today in Voice Lab, if I can get this all up on what we're talking about today, because it is the 14th, your stage is not visibility, it's an asset. So, not just visibility alone, how are you influencing? And today, our episode focuses, we're going to share with you how to shift from exposure, thinking, how to asset build on that one stage, because it's kind of not just a one and done, but it's a one and forever. How do you turn that into an evergreen program and turning stages into long-term authority building and owning your audience? You don't want to rent it. It's not there for a moment. You're not just borrowing someone else's audience. You want to nurture that audience for the rest of your time together and know that they're not just going to become lurkers, but they are going to become clients down the road and building leverage from every appearance. And how do I know that? Because I am Nicole Borgi. I'm an event to scale visibility leader, and I show entrepreneurs how to use the stage as leverage for marketing. It's a marketing machine, my friends, and I build authority platforms that scale the growth and how to grow revenue. So we're going to start talking more and more about that, how to build your revenue with your platform, because we want to make you a successful entrepreneur. And I create done for you and done with you virtual events. And let me bring up, all right, Colleen, good morning.
I just love this topic this morning. I'll tell you what, I was in an early morning call this morning and somebody said, "Oh, I'm going to your summit this afternoon. Da, 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 da. Is that when you're going to speak? What time?" And I said, "Oh, it's just another asset." And they're like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I am speaking. And this is what time." I said, and this is somebody that's gone to a lot of my presentations or times I've spoken. And I said, it's going to be the same topic as always, just another form of it. So it'll be a different asset. And she's like, "Oh, so yeah, I work here in conjunction with Nicole Borgi. We are collaborators." And when she talks about we're not just borrowing somebody's audience, what we're talking about is really collaborating and then taking advantage of the opportunity you have to integrate with other people's audiences and really build them out for your own. And so who am I? I'm Colleen Stubbs. I'm the founder of Simplified CEO Systems. And what I do is I help you take what you get from those collaborations, from getting on stages, from getting behind the mic anywhere, take those leads that you get and nurture them. I help you to put them into a structured, simple CRM system so that your automation is personalized, so that those contacts know that they're valued, they're seen, they're heard, and they process smoothly through your back end office while you're really just taking advantage of the opportunity to keep getting on stage, keep gathering and collecting those assets. We love that, right, Nicole? What other assets do we have too? So let's talk about that for a minute, because I feel like this week I'm doing a master class. We are in different networking. I'm sure Nicole is too, but in different networking where we're delivering our 1 minute intro, 2 minute intro, whatever that looks like. Also going into breakout rooms, right? We're also getting on stages at summits. And all of these things, when we take those, what Nicole and I are trying to teach you to do is how to not just show up on stage and be like, "Yay, I did it, I'm done." No, you're not, honey. The party's just started, right? Like now we get to repurpose that. Now we get to repurpose that into our emails that are running in our personalized automations, right? And
Absolutely.
and then also we can take those clips, Nicole, we do all the time. You have
The party's just started.
so much content. Jenny was saying, was it Jenny? Either Jenny or Kimberly were saying, I think it was Jenny saying, get on a podcast, 2 podcasts a week, and you have so much content as far as making short clips, even just pulling the transcription off of that and using that as captions in different places, using that as inserts in your different landing pages, things like that. Even for your lead magnets, taking that content and creating lead magnets from it. So really, what we're trying to teach you to do is to utilize it. Don't just get that opportunity to get behind the mic and experience that and leave on that high and let things fall through the cracks from there. We want to really take that audience that you borrowed and we want to nurture them and integrate them into your system and help them become your audience. And as Nicole said, once they're your audience and they go through your sequence, they're working towards being prospects, being clients, and that is the end goal for you. And so that's why we're trying to get seen and heard in 2026.
Right. Well, absolutely. That's true. It is all about exposure and asset building. And when you're aligned with the people that you network with and they work with sort of that same community, right? So if people don't have that aligned audience, perhaps they're just a power partner in a sense where maybe you can refer people to them and their business, or they have something, a tool, maybe an AI tool or a software that can work for your audience. But they don't have something that you can collaborate with, or a space or a stage or some type of sharing. And a lot of people share audiences through emails, right? So if you're on the stage, here's a simple thing that I like to share is that, when you come on the stage, you're on the stage on someone else's summit. So if you're on the summit, my summit, I'm actually on a summit myself today. I will be on a summit called Scale Beyond the Founder, and that is headed by and hosted by Jesper. And what's great about this is it's all about the team and the smaller business. And he really works with leadership and human resources and team building because you want to discover those systems and the mindset shifts. But what's great about this is I'm on his stage and I'm emailing my audience, but he's emailing his audience as well. And we're collaborating by sharing and marketing on social media and our audiences and signing people up and doing promotions with each other. And so so if there's 10 or 20 speakers, all those people are sharing the event. They may be only sharing their portion of the story when they market to their people, but their audience is going to sign up, and their audience may just get your free gift, or maybe they buy the VIP. And the value in the VIP is not only the video or being able to watch it, it's the gifts. So we need to start shifting our mindset on how that audience is leveraged. And if you pay to be on someone's stage, the great thing about that is you're getting leads. On my stages, I am generous with my leads, and I think it's very important for us to start understanding that if you're paying for leads, and a lot of people do, insurance people do all the time. We have someone that we network with, I think it's Rob, and he's buying leads because he needs to call back people that want insurance, right? So there's a lot of marketing that goes into that. Think of the cost that you're paying per lead. Maybe you're paying $1 a lead, maybe you're paying 50 cents a lead. But when you're paying to be on someone's stage like myself, you're getting those leads. You're getting live time, you're getting stage time, you're getting leads. And the other thing is I'm going to be emailing my audience, and everybody else is going to be emailing their audience, but as well as your gift. So your giveaway, your lead magnet, they upgrade to VIP, maybe they get a call with you. And if you're giving a workshop away for free, people are going to come in. And so that's the magic of that free gift, because a PDF is a one and done. You want to give that PDF, you want to give that kind of lead magnet, that checklist away in your workshop, but you want to continue the engagement and the relationship building. So you're constantly working that relationship building with everything. And when you have people that are watching you and they're clients of yours or they're supportive of yours, they're going to tell people how cool. Hey, I'm going to go see Colleen today. And I think what day are you speaking on that
I'm
stage?
speaking tomorrow. And let's talk about this for a second, Nicole, because I go in so many summits and the speakers aren't in the audience. And that makes me crazy because for me, I feel like, okay, Nicole's speaking today. I'm absolutely going to be there if I can be. And I'm going to be working the chat. What does working the chat mean? That means that I'm going to put my face and my voice out there. I'm going to comment. I'm going to interact. I'm going to take accountability for the things that are being shared. I'm going to respond as if I am the CEO in my business, right? This is a business meeting. And yeah, I'm not speaking till tomorrow, but it's my opportunity to get in there. What happens if I'm in there today for 2 hours in the chat, or maybe I go in for 20 minutes at a time, 4 different times, and I'm in the chat, I'm conversing with the people who are in the audience, also engaging with the speakers.
Is,
People get to know me. And then when I come on stage tomorrow, I am familiar to other people's audience already. That's not going to be their first introduction to me. So Jasper's audience is not going to get introduced to me tomorrow for the first time because I'm going to show up today in the comments. I'm going to be there. I'm going to engage. I'm going to interact with the speakers and interact with the audience and really help support the speaker. But the ulterior motive behind that is to get myself seen and heard. And so that is super important that we remember that part. Let's take advantage of every single opportunity we have to build out our assets. And that is an asset because what happens is then when I go speak, they're like, oh, it's her. Dang, she was in the audience yesterday. She was in the chat. We saw her. And then they're going to be a little bit more familiar with me. Then when my email pops in their inbox, they're going to be like, oh yeah, this is her because I've already been there playing the part. So many people are like, okay, I speak tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will show up at 10 till. And then right after I'm checking out. And guess what? They've lost that entire opportunity. It is just that boat left the shelter there. It's out. There's no bringing that bad boy back. So you got to really just dive in and take advantage of that opportunity. If you sign up for a summit, do not put on your calendar just the time that you're speaking. I put the full length of the summit, and then a week before I block out my entire calendar, and any time that isn't booked with a one-on-one or a client call, I'm in that summit. And I think that's
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important, and I'm putting the link in the chat. I think I have a different link. I'm going to put a new link here so you guys can sign up. It's free to attend. And the great thing about that is you're supporting, it is a collaborative effort. It is 100% a collaborative effort. And the phenomenal thing, if you're a stage host, is you should always have a wingman, your ride or die. Why? Because people are familiar with that person and they see whether it's your client or a collaborator or a business partner or your bestie, whatever. Your dog, have them sign in on Zoom on your phone. They can watch you, right? And the great thing about that is, and the reason you're doing that is because the audience becomes familiar with that person. And if I'm on the stage, Colleen's coming in to support me and she's in the chat, even if she's off camera, people go, "Oh, who's Colleen? Why is Colleen supporting her?" And they also go, "Oh my God, Nicole's got people in the audience. She brought people. How cool is that? She knows people." People do it all the time. I've seen stage hosts do it all the time. Sometimes it's their support team, their virtual assistant. Sometimes it's a business partner. But at all times, there's somebody familiar that you see in the chat that's supporting. And so I block the calendar, even if I'm at another event. I had a
Yep.
phone. I might have my phone on if I'm speaking or I'm networking. I try to have my phone on so I can support that person and throw something in the chat and just take a second to support them in their conversation. I'm signed in. People see my name. Free advertisement. All it takes is your internet connection. And what is that costing you? It doesn't cost you beans. It is a way to advertise. And that's why this is not just a one and done. It is everything, everywhere, all at once, because you're in as many places as possible. It's kind of like you portal jumping, right? You're entering other dimensions all at the same time because even if you're on a Zoom, you can sign in with a free account. You don't have to sign in with your Zoom. There's a genius of Zoom. Maybe you have a paid account. Sign in with that account. And then all you have to do is rename yourself. So whatever other free account that you have, that's the power of Google is you can sign in with anything and everything all over if you have other accounts. Sometimes you may need one other account for storage or an extra YouTube channel, whatever you're looking for. Start flipping the script on how you're leveraging, not only leveraging your business, your media, your publicity, your workflow, your social media, but leveraging the free tools that they have give you. So if you're a big conspiracy theorist and you think Gmail is listening to you, okay, it is. Go on. You're listening to it. Use it for what it's using you for, right? So if you're afraid of Facebook and you're putting all this stuff up and you don't want to engage over there, go find a platform that you like. I like LinkedIn better. It's less noise. But right now it's a little too much silence because people aren't engaging. So don't let those bots take over. Remember, even if you have bots or a virtual assistant, somebody's got to engage in the people that you are collaborating with, and you've got to engage. And also engage with your host. It's very important that you're supporting your host and what's going out there as well that you're sending on social media. And tag your host. Let them know.
Yes.
Maybe you didn't add them to your email, whatever. Maybe they want to unsubscribe. Please don't spam. But that's the power. And that's what you talk about is all the behind the scenes and the forever that you can do with the further marketing after the event. And what you have set up is because, you always want to start after event with a thank you email, right?
Right. And I think too, Nicole, that an important part of supporting the host is the same as if you were invited to a dinner party. And I know not everybody goes to dinner parties, but should I be invited to a dinner party, I would bring a hostess gift, right? And it's just a way of saying thank you for having me. I appreciate you thinking of me and inviting me. And so when we show up in the summit, when we're not speaking at that time, like when we show up outside of our speaking spot, that's supporting Jasper. That's saying to Jasper, you know what? Thank you so much for inviting me onto your stage. Thank you for sharing that with me. Thank you for having me. Even if you're paying to speak, it's still that way because what happens is you're making yourself memorable with your summit host then as well. And so your summit host is going to be, you know what? She shows up, she stays. I can only have one more speaker in this. She's a little bit late to applying, but I know she's going to be there and she's going to stay and she's going to keep the engagement going in the chat. And so she's the one I'm going to let in. And so it really is important that you play the full game. Let's not just hit the ball and go sit in the dugout. Like run the damn bases, get it all in, right? Make sure you're taking advantage of every opportunity you have. And that's just really a big part of the whole summit world. And if you don't know, you don't know, but that's why we're doing this is so that you do know. So you're educated and you can come in and say, now I know better and I can do better. And that's the biggest part of growing your business is really understanding that you're always going to be learning and growing. This is just another step. And we want you to do it in a way that really boosts and uses the opportunity to scale. So I'm excited about that. What's your topic, Nicole?
My topic this time is, let me look because I have different topics for different stages. And guess what, folks? Sometimes your talk, structure, and strategy and outline can be the same every time, but your title may pivot just a little bit. But what I'm talking about, let's see, what do I have today? I've got to look this one up. I was just in there last night too. But while I look that up, I am going to say, you guys, join the Voice Lab. And the reason I'm talking about this right now, and I want to shout it out, is that if you come into the Voice Lab, I think it's a premium membership you get on the stages. We've got 2 summits coming up, the Authority Code, and that's how leaders influence their audience, and also Plot Twist, the Gathering. And that stage as well is all about authors and publishing support, PR support. We've got some great packages that are coming. There are just going to be some exclusive launches for this. Great collaborations along with Mary Ferris from Iris. I think it's Iris Blue Publishing that she runs. And we are all going to bring some great things and launching some new products just on this event. And so will be a great launch coming up. So you're going to want to get your tickets as well as that. And it looks like for Scale Beyond the Founder, my talk is A-Team Energy, Raise Your Lid, Amplify Your Influence, and Lead on Repeat. Well, folks, one thing is My background is leadership, 20 plus years in leadership and management and managing over 200 people in the greater Las Vegas area. And that's 200 people and sometimes 20, 50 different sites. I was in charge of that. I was the overnight shift. I was the end all be all. I thought I was every woman, but it wasn't all in me. It was a little too much. It was a lot to manage, but I learned so much. And that way also with field training. And what has it brought me? It brought me the understanding on how to have a great strategy, a great structure, being able to copy and paste, but also amplifying my voice. As a leader, you used to see these great talks years ago. A leader, Jim Rohn was a leader. He had groups of people that he managed and he worked with, that he also taught in his own personal team. And he came in and taught other people about mindset management, leadership, and influence. And what is that? That's about getting on the camera and how can you influence? He influenced people at seminars, events, on video, on radio, now podcasts. So how are you influencing people? Turn on the camera, turn on your microphone, and start talking into it. And you're going to be able to influence your group. And I'm going to also teach people about workshops and how to structure those into masterminds and master classes, because you can send that out and clip that and you can do training and also invite your collaborators in. So it works the same anywhere. There's a magic in the message. And how are you leveraging to get that out there? Because to be a great leader, Patrick Bet-David does this well. He does his podcast. It's advertising for him every day, every time, because that's his business. And what is your budget for that? So let's start looking at that. What's your talk about, Colleen?
My talk is about, let's see, it is from scattered to strategic, 3 steps to your dream back office. And of course, those 3 steps we already know are going to be simplify, automate, and delegate. And then my VIP gift, which I'm really excited about, because going through the class, listening to my presentation is one thing, but when you actually get on a call with me one-on-one and we go through and we simplify, we decide exactly, map out what needs automated, how to automate it, what needs delegated, who to delegate it to, what the cost is or the collaboration is for that, and what you shouldn't delegate. When we get on a call and do this one by one, you literally walk away with a map that you can start implementing the second you get off the call. And so I think that VIP gift is really amazing. And so many people are like, yeah, but automation, delegation, who has time for that? Here's the thing I love about it is it's one and done. Now, as far as simplifying, I'm always having to simplify in my business. I'm always having to ask myself, does this opportunity serve my end goal where I want to be, right? And so that's always a process. The simplification is always, because you're always weeding things out that aren't aligned. And so that's important. And also weeding out tasks you don't like. And then always trying to keep your blinders on and not spend time doing things that don't move the needle, right? So simplification is something we revisit a lot. But once your automations are set up, that's pretty much one and done. I mean, you go back in and update every once in a while, but one and done is great. Takes that off your plate. And so imagine if this week you need to send 7 emails, following week you need to send 10. And so you know that you're going to have to block off an hour and a half each week to do that. Let's just take 2 hours this week and plan those out. And those are on repeat for the next couple of weeks. Then you don't need to go back in and change those up, right? You can get those into your workflows so that they're automated and they're going without you spending that extra time every week. So that's huge. And then delegation. So many people are like, I can't hire out. I'm just starting. I get that. I do. But there are more ways to get things delegated to people than just cold hard cash. Let's be honest. There's so many ways to collaborate. There's so many different people and different sections you can do. And then of course, there are the 4 things that we never, ever, 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 as a CEO of our business, delegate to anybody else, because those 4 things need your touch. And I'm not going to tell you what those are. I'm going to leave that for the presentation. But I am going to tell you too, that if you feel like automation is impersonal, like you just don't like it because people are going to AI and saying, create me a workflow with 7 emails and these are my touch points. And you feel like that's so impersonal. There is a system that I've developed that personalizes your automations. And so I'm going to share that, as well as going over again that consistency is personal. And so when you keep showing up, when your automations are consistent, they're always delivering, that builds your relationship. And without automation, it's hard to always show up. It takes a lot of time without automation to always show up. And so automation is important on so many levels, but I absolutely agree with everybody saying it can be so impersonal. It can, and we know that. And when we open our email and we're like, oh, this one starts the same as this one up here, 6 emails previous, or every email I get from her starts with the same exact phrase. These are all coming from AI, and you get rid of them, right? But stick to the ones that are personal and learn how to personalize that. That's a huge part of building your business, is building the relationships. And so you really do have to dive into that and invest some time and some energy in making that exactly a perfect replication of or representation of you and your business.
Absolutely. And the reason I'm laughing is it's people I saw an email the other day. Hope you're doing well. Hope this message finds you doing good. You know that that is the old AI over a year ago that we were supposed to have gotten rid of. And when you're using virtual assistants or you're using AI yourself, please remember to preview what the line is going out. Find your tone and style. Find that. You should be able to put it in there. I know chat wakes up like every Sunday and does some upgrade to some new system and it forgets my tone and style. So I have to reprompt it, even though it's in my profile. Doesn't matter. I have to tell it to go into my profile, get out of those 3 dots, get out of the hyphen space. But it's great for outlining what you're doing. And that's perfect. I hope you guys can't hear the lawnmower because it sounds like the guy's camping out with a weed whacker, just rotating, doing nothing. He's not moving. But they're clipping trees, but it's Tuesday. But that's the thing, is you want to go ahead and treat every talk like it feels like an ecosystem. And what we've talked about here is how we're getting on the stage and using the example of getting on the stage and utilizing the ecosystem of what you have. And if you think that it's not important or you shouldn't have to pay for your stage, at some point in time, you're going to have to pay for it. When are you paying and how much are you paying? If you're nickel and diming that you're going to show up and you're going to be a $10,000 a day speaker and you have no training, you haven't done a workshop, you haven't gone on podcasts, and you're not appearing on people's stages, paid or not, you are not experiencing, you are not evolving, you are not training yourself, you're not getting the experience, and you're not collaborating. Who's coming to the TED Talk? Right? So who's going to support you there? And what message do you have? Just because you have this, you feel a unique message, is that message something that people want to hear? And that's another thing. It's a cold, hard fact. And that's what we teach in the Voice Lab with our groups of people. That's what we teach with our master classes and the people that we bring in from the outside as well that are doing some master classes. We got some great ones coming up as well. But this is also designing your talk to attract the right people, not everyone. Your mess may become your message over a period of time, but you still have to understand your avatar and your niche. Who are you speaking to? The other thing I do want to say, here's a little secret. Here's a writer downer. Here's a tip. If you show up for that stage host, if you support the event for that stage host, I supported so many people's events by just showing up and writing in the chat. Sometimes I could be on camera, sometimes off camera, and even paying for stages that when they needed someone last minute, they could call me. I got $400 speaking spots for free just because I showed up, just because they knew I'd email, just because they knew I'd get some signups or not. So, where are you positioning yourself as a leader and the authority builder, and who are you supporting? If you expect people to come to your summit or your stage, are you supporting them? And know that those speakers are a gold mine. Speakers show up and support. Support for an hour before, support for an hour after. Put it on your schedule, especially if you're paying for the stage and you know it's the right audience. Chances are, I do this, I finite and really put together a core group of speakers who are fiercely aligned in that audience. Why? Because those are the ones that are going to pay a larger amount of money because they know the worth and they know that you support them for one, they know that they're in the right place, they're aligned. 2, and for 3, they know that since you're aligned and they've heard your conversation and your talk and what you've brought to the table and your experience, that they know that that's a great product. So they're either going to show up in your workshop, get in your workflow, or buy from you right away. I've had people spend $15,000 just by being in the audience after they spoke, hang out for the next speaker, bought into their program, and paid them. And they had a great partnership. It was a great client and mentor consultant connection. Those are the people that are spending money. It may not be the audience members because maybe they just want a free ticket, they want to hear something, they want to experience something. Maybe they watch you later. But that is huge and it is so important. And that is what gets you to that back end where you know the audience is going to listen to you. And hey, guess what? They're not going to unsubscribe. Maybe they'll leave you in the folder and they want to learn a little bit more for you. So if you have that back end conversion set up just right, then that's what's going to support you. And it's the same for authors. It's the same for publishers. It's the same when you want to get out there and you want public relations. People can put out the best ads, but if you're not answering the phone when your clients are calling and your business is not there tomorrow, and you don't have the support or you don't have those workflows ready in the day and age of technology, you're not getting anywhere. I think that, yeah, it's huge.
And I think that's a little bit of a trick sometimes because we want to take what we shared on stage and any feedback that we got. And so if somebody asked a question when we're on stage, after Nicole Summits, after we speak, she opens up for Q&A. And so if somebody comes forward with a question and we answer that, it's important that after we're done speaking, we go back to our workflow and we take those questions and we integrate them a little bit into the emails so that, because what happens is now we know the questions the audience has, particularly on how we presented right then. And if the audience gets the VIP gift, they're going to get the recording of this. And so now you have the recording that they're watching and you have the questions continued through your email sequence that they're getting. So it's super important to just carry that right on through. Now, I don't want you to leave the summit or the speaking presentation and go create an automated workflow. That's not it. The idea is to have that already in place. And once you create a workflow for any summit, you can just go in, especially if you're using Go High Level, and clone and edit that workflow for the next summit. And so then after the next summit, you just go in and change and edit the emails to reflect the summit that you just spoke in, right? And so it's a very simple process. It's not recreating everything. It's created once, and then you're just going to go in and edit it. And then, of course, I edit mine before the summit or before the presentation, just based on what I'm going to speak on. And then immediately after, I maybe have one short or two short little edits I need to go put in that pertain to questions that were asked. Those are the only edits you should be making or you should need to make after your summit. And so that's really important that you go in and do that. It extends the lifeline of your speaking opportunity, right? It really just brings it right on out. And then you can also implement lots of touch points in there. And so maybe you also have a blog post or of an article that supports what you were talking about. You can put those in there as well. You can put your links to book a call, a gentle reminder that, hey, did you book your call? Make sure you book a call with me and let's go through this on a deeper level, things like that. But also I can go back and I have people signing up for different things all the time. I can go back and go through and segment my contacts by what events they were invited to, by what events they registered to. And I can also look and see where they fell off the interactions. Like if they weren't interested, maybe this summit didn't hit home for them. Maybe it's the author summit. Maybe they're not planning on being an author. And so that one, they just opted out on that particular one. I can see that, okay, that's the case here. Or I can see that they followed all the way through with it. I can also see what they clicked on in the emails that I sent them. And so that's important to really just make sure that you're building this out in a personalized way to them, to your audience, so that relationship continues to be nurtured. And that's just we can only say it so many times, that you've got to keep nurturing that relationship. And I want to talk a little bit about storytelling on stage. That is so important, but it's also more important and hugely beneficial when you're telling stories that position you as the authority. And so sharing your experience through storytelling, the experience of how you became the expert. What did you go through that you figured this out so that other people don't have to make that same mistake? And so storytelling is huge, but you want to make sure that it's integrated correctly and that it really is positioning you as the authority because of your experience, right?
Absolutely. And does your story reflect what you're talking about, right? So I don't always talk about my security and law enforcement management experience because sometimes it can be boring for people. I don't always tell those back end stories, which I was telling you one last night of the things that we had to do with people and the world and little people in Las Vegas. You can only imagine after 2 a.m., right, folks? But that is safe it's going to give me credibility. 20 plus years as a leader, a manager, a field training officer, a report writer, yada 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 yada. So that's all the credentials: FEMA experience, hostage negotiation experience, hostage, all the fun stuff, you guys. If you could really do this, it's not a game. It was actually, we actually got to be there and play around and have a great building experience. That's going to give me credibility for the stage here today, right? And that's what took me into, as a leader, a great supportive system that I bring to the stage. And how does that reflect my life now? Not only as a leader, how I influence my audience now, which is more of my team, the team of people, the collaboration. Colleen and I are cohorts. We are a team together, right? So we work together. We do podcasts together. That is a team, a collaborative effort. So that's where that leadership fits into that mindset there, right? So that's a shift on where does it fit in your business today? That's why you need to have that story. That's where the credibility comes in. It also gives me credibility because I am somebody that you can depend on in if stuff hits the fan, right? So if things go wrong, I'm going to be there. I'm going to troubleshoot it. I'm going to fix it. I can fix the chaos. I can unwind that, and I can be supportive because I do see, and I talk to a lot of my clients that I consult with, a big thing is getting upset over the littlest things that go wrong. And sometimes because we're stressed, it happens, of course, in a week before an event. It gets stressful for the person hosting the event, right? Not the person like me who's running the back end. I understand that. But day-to-day tasks that are they don't mean much. Those little tasks, and sometimes they're big tasks that we have to ditch. And if you get so everything's got to be perfect and it's got to go out this way at this time, a portion of it does. But, like today, the live stream button I hit, gosh, 6 times and it wasn't going live. And by the time it went live, the sound wasn't went off from Zoom. But somebody like myself has the experience to go, oh, I got to troubleshoot. Oh, I got a partner in my team that's going to let me know that the sound's not working on her end while I'm trying to fix the buttons in the back. And that's the kind of collaboration that you want to work with on somebody. And that's what I'm bringing to the stage today in my talk, is that leadership and that influence and that understanding that you are supportive. Your team is only as good as its leader. And that's huge to realize, that if you're the today's CEO, or you're putting that, hey, I'm the actual solopreneur, but yet I'm the CEO, the math doesn't really math there. But if you're doing that, how are you showing up as a CEO? And sometimes if you're in that position where you feel you have to fake it till you make it, right? We've all had those moments. What is your background and your experience that you're honing in on, that you can draw from, that's going to make you the expert and that person that people are going to want to sit up in their chairs and listen to? And that is the story that you're telling. What in the heck does it have to do with what you're sharing? So the two have to go together. Unless you're great at tying it in and circling back, you need to do that on a podcast. That story may not have anything to do with anything at all. So why are you sharing it? So let's be take a little bit of thought and a little bit of time of what works best in this talk. Because if I have a leadership talk and I'm talking about security and law enforcement, that's not necessarily going to go to maybe a metaphysical or an alchemical type of spiritual or soul-filled talk that I'm giving the next day. The components of it may be the same, and I'm going to share, hey, here's my experience as a crystal Reiki master, and this is what I'm bringing to the stage. So make sure that those tie-ins work, and that's going to work in absolutely on your back end as well.
Yeah. And I think too that, there are a lot of people that are just starting their business. And so maybe they're like, well, I don't have a team, so I'm not really a leader. But the truth of the matter is, you are a leader, whether you want to be or not. How you choose to show up is what defines that. And so knowing that even if you don't think you have anybody following you, you show up as a leader. There are other people watching. I've just in life, I'm well into my 50s, and I've gone through different hard things, and sometimes I've had to say to myself, you know what, my girls are watching me go through this. My daughters are watching how I handle this, and so I need to handle it a certain way. And it's the same thing in your business. Show up, be the leader, step up. So what if you don't have clients yet? Step up in the conversations, show up and be supportive. Keep doing those things, because you will soon become known as a leader in that area by your actions. And so if your action is to sit back with your camera off and not engage and not interact, you're not going to be known as a leader for sure. That's a decision you make to be a leader, and to show up in a professional way and in a supportive way. And that's so important. Now, Monday, that was yesterday, I think. That was a long time ago. We had Laura Doman on Monday Morning Business Foreplay, and she talked to us about interacting with your audience. And so she is an actress, and she's a voiceover actress as well. And she really teaches people how to be on camera. And so if you struggle with that, go catch the replay of that on my YouTube. But she really teaches people how to build their presence by being authentic and genuine online in their camera presence, not reading their script, what to look at so that you're looking the right way, the different things to say, different things you should do or not do with your hands, all of those things. She really goes over that. And I think that that's an important part of this as well. She's also taught a masterclass inside Voice Lab. So we have that link dropped. Go join Voice Lab, and you can watch that masterclass over and over and really pick up on the tips and the tricks that she teaches us there. She's a phenomenal lady, and her message is amazing. So, Nicole, I think that we've covered a lot today. Did we miss anything?
No, I know that we've talked about shifting from exposure, thinking into asset building, which is taking and chopping up your video and throwing it all over social media, right? Turning stages into long-term authority. And what does that do? That is your support. That's your engagement. And that is what's going on the VIP replay. So that is long-term connection and consistency. Owning the audience. You're not renting it. Own the audience, come as a professional and support. And a little nugget I want to share with everybody, what I do in my call to action is I always suggest for the audience to get the VIP and upgrade, because I want to connect that sale back to the host and make sure that people upgrade to VIP to support that host and build leverage on every appearance. And that's not only supporting your host, supporting yourself, having a strong story and a call to action. And every appearance should be a way for you to collect leads and to connect with everybody that you possibly can. I believe that we've done and gone through everything today. It's just about time to wrap it up and close it down. Any last words?
I don't think so. Just really be mindful that if you don't own the audience, you're not going to own the outcome.
Oh, 100%. Well said. We're going to play the commercial on the way out. Everything looks like it's ready to go. I see ya on the other side, guys. We'll see you at a scale to founder and today and tomorrow. Bye bye. Bye bye.